Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We've got another video on the trailer. This one is maybe a little bit different. I mean, we're not going to be tearing anything apart in this video. We did have some stuff done kind of behind the scenes off camera over the last week, and we'll share that with you. We'll give you a little tour of some of the changes since you last saw the trailer. We're also going to do just a little bit of maintenance on the semi-tractor. Something happened recently that necessitated us to pause on the trailer briefly and address something on the tractor. So we'll bring you along for that fix. Also, we are going to reveal to you what happened to the original ramp with the extensions and that whole setup. What happened to the original ramp that was on this trailer during Night Rider? So you're not gonna wanna miss it. It's a pretty interesting story. All right, with that said, thanks for joining us. Let's get going. Do you want to help with the Semi's restoration? Donate now to the Semi Restoration GoFundMe initiative or buy one of our awesome Semi Restoration Team shirts. Links are in the video description below. So really, so much focus has been on the trailer since it arrived here a little over a month ago that I kind of feel bad we've neglected the tractor. But one thing did happen recently that kind of forced us to turn our attention back to the tractor. So on the tractor, for those of you who aren't familiar, there's two tanks, two diesel tanks, one here, one on the other side. And there's a hose that connects the two. Well, we noticed recently that the hose, which was pretty dry rotted to begin with, started developing a pretty decent leak in it. And you know, I didn't really want diesel fuel just constantly dripping either into a pan or into the driveway. So decided to take the time today and go get a replacement hose. And that's what we did. I actually found, here's the old hose. So if you look here at this old hose, look how cracked it is. It's a mess. I actually found a place that makes hoses while you wait, which was awesome. It was only like 10 minutes. I took the other one in and they were able to replicate it. So I have this plugged, but it's still dripping a little bit. So let's go ahead and let's get that line in so we can stop collecting diesel fuel in this container here. So really, only this tank has a shutoff valve. I'm not sure why both tanks don't. It feels like they both should. So this one we were able to seal off, but the other one is still dripping. So let's get this new hose installed. So we're going to run it through this shroud here. Get this screwed on. Okay, there's one. All right, so because of how messy this is going to be, since we don't have a shutoff valve on this side, we're going to use some gloves here. And we're going to have to do this kind of quick, I think. So let's make sure. Yeah, so they did that right. All right, so I expect this to start pouring out fairly quickly. There we go. That wasn't too bad. We got that connected. We captured all the diesel fuel, which we'll put back in the tank here. So we got our line. We are good to go again. So this makes me feel better that we are not dripping. Have to get a replacement hanger for right here. So zip ties will do for now, but there's one quick fix done on the semi-tractor. So, anybody want this old hose, the original one from the show, most likely? Try to see if there's any markings on it. But, you know, maybe someone out there wants this as a piece of the semi. If you do, send us a message. First come, first serve. All right, so you guys remember how a couple weeks ago we did a video on like the semi-trailer's most wanted items, all these little knickknacks from the semi interior set, and really a few things from the actual Dorsey trailer that we were on the hunt for. Well, you guys really delivered. With that video, we have successfully ID'd every single thing that we were asking for. It's absolutely amazing. We've also acquired not all of the things, but a number of things. And I'll show you a few of them that have just come in that I think you're gonna like. All right, so first of all, these were not on our list, on our video, but all of the marker lights on the trailer, well, not all of them, most of them have been replaced over the years. You know, one gets broken and they replace it, but they were replaced with inaccurate ones. So we found new old stock of the red and amber marker lights. So these are the exact ones that were on the trailer. So we're going to go over and replace maybe not all of them. I mean, obviously there's a few on there that are still the original light that if the housing's in good shape, we will probably keep it. But for all of the inaccurate ones, we now have accurate replacements, which is awesome. So the security bolt for the lounge door, look at that. I mean, it's amazing to me. Someone identified it like it was no problem at all. And in fact, this one was mailed to us for free by a fan, by a viewer of the show. So I wanted to say thank you so much for that. That's a huge piece of the interior, believe it or not. And of course, the mysterious encyclopedias, which are not encyclopedias, they're actually West California Digest, these law books, whatever. But we have enough in here to fill that entire cabinet, which is so awesome. And we also got some other bits that are still on their way. So maybe we'll save those, the reveal of those for a future video. All right, so here's what I was talking about. This is an incorrect marker light. This was added much later. In fact, are these LEDs? No, these are not LEDs, but this is a much later marker light. In comparison, this is the marker light that should be on there. And in fact, you can even see the mounting hole right here? That's for that hole right there. So you can see they're completely different shape. And if we look over the trailer, you know, that one, that's incorrect. We walk down here, that's an original one. That's an original marker right there. I know it's hard to see. That one is not correct. This one, not correct. That one is an original. There's an original red one right there, and so on. So we've got a mishmash here. So we're gonna get them all replaced with the correct reflectors. All right, so here we are at the back corner of the trailer, and I wanted to make a correction from a previous video. Remember how we talked about the climb bar that they added onto the side of the trailer for the episode The Wrong Crowd, so the stuntman could climb up the side of the trailer? Well, in my original reveal video, we talked about these holes. Where's the other one? Right there, and right there as being the mounting points for the bar. But one of you guys pointed out, you can clearly see that the last mount is not this low. It's actually up in this area. So then we started looking back here and be like, well, where was that mounted? And wouldn't you know it, what we thought was mounted here for that bar, here are the original holes. This one's filled in. But if you go up here, I know you're not gonna be able to see it, it's so small, but right in there, there's another one. There's another one up top, and then right here is the bottom mount. So we were incorrect. It was not mounted here. It was mounted further. And actually going back and watching screenshots of the show, we can see that the bar was on this side of these rivets. It wasn't over here. So little correct. You know, we're all still learning here, but the proof is still there. There's all right there, all of the holes still there, just filled in. There you go. We've got a new feature across the Night Rider Historian's YouTube channel, Super Thanks, not to be confused with Super Pursuit. With Super Thanks, you have the option to post a distinct, colorful, and fully customizable comment in our videos comments section. This shows the world that you are a super Night Rider fan and will stand out amongst the sea of comments that we receive. Go ahead, give it a try. And every super thanks gets a super response from us. Press the thanks button. Just don't press the turbo boost. All right, so you can see we've done a little additional work in here. We've got a lot of the drywall out. Still working on pulling the drywall out here. Still, you know, we hope we're gonna pull something away and find some writing on the wall or something. But I'm starting to think that these walls were painted, the plywood, you know, the original plywood was painted white after Universal had it. Because in fact, if you look in certain places, like right here, you can see that there's an additional coat of paint here, like an eggshell white. And I think that's an older white paint job. And looking closely, it's hard to see, but it almost looks like there was black underneath the white. So I'm wondering if when it was with Universal, it was all black on the inside and then kind of like the ceiling was. And then later owners painted it white, which explains why we have found absolutely nothing on the walls of, you know, any value. So, you know, I mentioned in my last video about this railing. You guys had tons and tons of theories about this. And to be honest, we're still not 100% sure until we tear this wall down, tear the ceiling out over there to see how far that goes. But one person, or actually a number of people, mentioned that that's for a winch that you can move back and forth for, you know, for lifting. So the winch would be on a rail and you could slide it and use that as an anchor point. But maybe that's it. Some of you mentioned maybe they put a camera up there, camera equipment. I don't know. Hopefully, as we tear more apart, we'll get some more clues about that. What else? Well, you can see we're short a lot of cabinets, right? We had one of our viewers contacted us privately and was interested in purchasing cabinets. So he came the other day and took them all out, which is totally awesome. You can see there's the original plywood. Looks like a piece of it was cut out right there. So anywhere there's plywood that's missing, we're gonna put plywood back in case you were wondering. But yeah, you remember there was the long workbench here. There were metal tool chests under there. Those are all gone. So now we just have to cut all this out. This is all welded to the trailer in various locations. But yeah, there were cabinets all over there, all up in there. They are now all gone. So we are really making good progress there. We do have, he did leave a couple that he didn't want. And you can see out here, we've got just a nice little vomit of of interior stuff. We have a dumpster that we're gonna chuck most of this into. There's a few other, you know, cabinets back here. We still have the water tanks here. Not sure what we're gonna do with those. And then the lounge countertop is back there. We're gonna probably chuck that as well. And so many of you mentioned the Apple box, which I didn't know that's what this was. But, you know, it's got, like, what do these markings mean, right? That one has a red slash, but then on the other side, it's got blue and white. Does anyone out there know what these markings mean? Because you might be right. Maybe this was in here from the Night Rider days and it just never left. It was always used as a step up. But I'm very curious to learn more about this. I never even gave it another thought until some of you guys in the comments started mentioning the Apple box. And you know, we pulled a couple of these out a couple weeks ago. There was a mirror backsplash there that we pulled out. We saw these plugs here. Didn't really think much of it at the time until all these cabinets were gone and we saw, wait, every single panel has a plug, and then it hit us. These were all drilled out so they could shoot insulation in the cavities to insulate it. That's what all those plugs are for. So I guess that's good, right? The trailer is insulated, and these panels, these plywood panels are original. They're not coming out. So we do have insulated walls, and actually right up here, you can see the plywood was cut, and this is insulation up here. So I suppose that's good. We've got insulation there, and that'll help keep the trailer cool in the summertime, which is good. I have to say, I get a really cool thrill just sitting amongst this trailer, right? I mean, the history right behind me. Not even just for Knight Rider, the history of it as its second life as a racing trailer. I mean, you know, if the trailer could talk, right? All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the ramp. So the second video we did on the trailer was a discussion, is the ramp original, right? And in that video, we pretty much determined, no, it's not the original ramp. Unfortunately, no aspect of it is original. Well, we have a little bit more information now. So if you remember in our last video on the trailer, we showed you a picture of the trailer from 1988. Here, take a look. All right. So this picture provides a number of clues about the history of the truck post Knight Rider. This was the first picture we had seen of the trailer after Knight Rider ended. Well, what's really cool is we were contacted, and someone had 2 more photos of the trailer. And in those photos, it actually shows the back of the trailer, which is really cool. So was the ramp on the trailer in 1988? No, it wasn't. It actually had its factory Dorsey roll-up door in 1988. So how, right? Why? Well, if you look at the show, and especially the season 4 episode, The Wrong Crowd, we can see that during Knight Rider, the original Dorsey roll-up door that this trailer left with from the factory in 1978 was still installed on the trailer. It was just permanently up. So technically, when the ramp was down, they could actually close the factory roll-up door too, which is crazy. And most people don't notice that. And frankly, we didn't notice it for many years. I mean, it was only whenever we, you know, kind of found the trailer and really started looking at screenshots that we could see, hey, that's the original roll-up door still in the trailer. But in these pictures from 1988, we see the backside of the trailer, and we see the factory roll-up door closed. And we also see some just manual ramps set on the sill of the trailer. We can also see, just barely, that the taillight panel, the factory taillight panel, has already been modified. And we talked about this, we showed you in one of our earlier videos, how the factory taillight panel has been modified and they added an aftermarket stainless panel underneath. Well, in those photos in 1988, you can see that stainless panel under there. So those modifications happened a lot earlier than we thought. So the question is, well, what happened to the ramp, right? We are 99.01732% sure that Universal Studios removed the ramp before they ever auctioned the trailer. And if you think about it, it makes sense, right? Because that ramp, you know, they didn't, for liability reasons, you know, they didn't want an issue where people were using that ramp and maybe something caved or buckled on it and someone got hurt. Because that was designed specifically for stunts, for the Trans Am to go up and down in the back of the trailer. So it makes sense for Universal to remove it. But it wasn't until we saw those photos from 1988 showing the roll-up door that we put together a piece of the puzzle that we had in our brain since 2011. So in 2011, AJ and I went to Universal Studios. And when we were there, it was our first time there, we didn't go like as tourists to the theme park or anything like that. We went and we met with the transportation department at Universal Studios. It was a really, really special day for us. And we met a number of wonderful people there. And one of the people there is still a friend, and we still keep in contact with this person. And actually, whenever we found the trailer, we gave him a call, and he actually met us down there in the suburbs of Phoenix to see the trailer for the first time in 35 years. Anyways, that's beside the point. When we went down there, you know, we were just talking about his work on the show, and somehow the topic came up about the semi and what happened to it. And he said he didn't know what happened to it. He said, but we have the rear door of the semi around back. Do you want to see it? And we said, well, yeah, absolutely. And then he jokingly said, you can have it for $100,000. At least I think he was joking. Anyways, so we were excited, but we thought when he said that, he meant the original door that would have come on the trailer. Because remember, this was 2011. We didn't know this trailer came with a roll-up door. We didn't know the roll-up door was permanently up the whole time it was being filmed. We thought this trailer came with your normal like swing out doors that most trailers come with. So whenever he said we have the door to the trailer around back, AJ and I instantly thought, well, he's got the original swing out doors that they took off to put the ramp on. So anyways, we go outside, we take a walk, we go around the building, and he said, yeah, the ramp is like right over this hill or something like that. And we went back there, and it was all freshly excavated dirt. There were bulldozers back there. It was a construction zone. And he said something like, oh, he said they must have just gotten rid of it because they were doing some redevelopment at that time. And we thought, well, that's a shame, but they're just the factory swing out doors. They weren't actually used on the show. So we thought. That was 2011. It was 11 years ago. Fast forward to, you know, just a couple days ago when we got those pictures of the trailer in 1988 with the roll-up door in place. We went back to that conversation and thought, no, the door that he was talking about that was around back was the actual ramp that they took off of this before they auctioned the trailer. It had sat at Universal since the show ended up until, I don't know, weeks or maybe a couple months before we got there. And it was, I'm sure, scrapped, unfortunately. So in my mind, unless there's further evidence that comes forward, pretty sure the original ramp is completely gone. I don't think it's still at Universal. I think it was scrapped, which is really, really a shame. But, you know, not all hope is lost. We have enough information on the trailer and on the ramp and with the trailer here where we can take actual measurements, where we can see, you know, where the pulleys were mounted. We can see where the little latch was on the top to hold the door shut. With all of those details, screenshots from the show, we are confident we can recreate the ramp exactly. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, our biggest question is still the mechanism inside. You know, in our minds, we've gone from, okay, it's 2 winches, okay, it's hydraulic rams, okay, it's a garage door opener that open and close it. But the reality is we don't know. And until we have that answer, and unfortunately, you know, we're not at that point yet. We got a ton of work to do before we worry about the mechanism. But we will figure it out one way or the other. You know, we've got all these mysterious bolts on the outside, and we've been able to look on the inside of all those bolts, and they're all cut. They're not holding anything up. They're all just in place to plug the holes on the outside at this point. So it's a mystery, you know, it's a mystery, but it's a fun mystery, and we will somehow figure it out. But going back to what I was saying before about the roll-up door. So currently the roll-up door is completely gone. They totally removed it. But, you know, we were talking, Eric and I were talking, and we thought, you know, to do this right, we need to put the roll-up door back in there. So we are currently on the hunt for a late 70s Dorsey roll-up door and all the hardware associated with it. So if you have any connections, or if you know of any, I don't know, any boneyards that have Dorsey trailers in them, or any that are for sale that have the factory roll-up door, and it's got to be a Dorsey from the late 70s, like 77, 78, 79, let us know. We're definitely interested in it, because once again, you know, we're kind of in this, and if we're going to do it, we're going to do it 100% right, because you know, it's for you guys, it's for all of us, it's for the fans, it's for preserving this awesome piece of history. So there you go, there's the spiel. The original ramp does not exist anymore. All right, guys, that's all we've got this week. We're going to continue on here with our teardown of the trailer. Maybe we'll start working on these other belly boxes out here and getting the rest of the framework off. I feel like, you know, the outside just really needs to look like the Knight Rider trailer. So maybe we'll address some of that too. We still got a ton to tear out on the inside. Man, I'll tell you, if I had a nickel for every rivet that I have drilled out and need to drill out on this trailer, I'd be a billionaire. There's a lot of work ahead, but it's fun, and I'm glad you guys are along the journey with us. So as always, thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.